to the encouraging word of today. Today is Friday, June the 19th, and we get to pick up here in Proverbs chapter 18. We're going to look at verses 6 through 9 today. But as we have said over and over and over again, the purpose of Proverbs is to make us wise. God does not want us to be foolish. He has given us a mind to think, a mouth to speak, and a soul to feel. And He wants us to use all three of those things to show forth wisdom and understanding. God has created us to be wise and intelligent, and sadly, we are choosing to be foolish in the way we're handling the God-given gifts that He has given to us. And chapter 18 of Proverbs, here he's drawing the net in really tight to show us exactly how to use these gifts. And verse 6, he picks up and says these words: "A fool's lips enter into contention, enter into strife, enter into division, enter into destruction, enter into slander, enter into gossip." Contention is a word that is loaded with negative and evil meaning. And so we don't want to join in with the evil ones and use our lips to speak things that God would not be pleased with. And so we got to be careful of how we use our lips. He says, "A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes." Not only is those who bring contention calling for fist to fight, but he also is calling for someone to come and give him a fist. He's calling for his own destruction, as he goes out and he brings contention, and contention brings strife, and strife brings division, and division brings war. And so certainly he calls for it by speaking into it foolishly to his own demise. And so a fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. Verse 7, "A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his own soul." So verse 7 just simply sums up the ending effect of verse 6. If you use your lips for contention, for strife, for hate and bigotry and gossip and slander, and you're going to heap to yourself trouble. And so you think that you're being justified and you're speaking out, but you're actually causing yourself much harm. You're doing the opposite of what you think you're accomplishing. And certainly many of the things which we've seen going on in our country today has backfired on those who have got out and stirred up contention and strife. It backfires, and that's because the Bible is very clear that you reap what you sow. And so if you go out and you sow contention is what you're going to reap back onto yourself. And if you use your lips to speak out evil is going to come back upon you. And so I wish we could learn this as a people. I wish we could be wise and have knowledge that God says this is going to happen. But He says not only should we learn to use our lips wisely, but He says the words of a talebearer or a gossip are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. They hurt deeply. They hurt deeply. And slander, gossip, talebearers are going out and speaking lies against people. And those lies, man, they hurt really bad. And so we need to learn how to use our lips, learn how to use our tongue, learn how to use our mind, and not be foolish, but be wise. And then lastly, in verse 9, he says these words: "He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster." And so God intends for us to get out and to work hard and to be wise and to use the gifts that He's given to us to glorify Him, but also to help one another. And certainly in many ways, we're not helping one another. We're destroying one another today. We're not being wise. We're being foolish. We're not bringing peace. We're bringing contention and strife. And so these are all the opposite things in which God says we're supposed to be bringing into life. But sadly, many are choosing the opposite. And it's going to bring upon their own selves destruction, but in the process, it also hurts a lot of other people as well. And so we need to learn to be wise, learn to use our lips in the right manner, learn to have understanding of how God sees these situations and what He calls evil and what He calls good, because we must stand with God before we stand with man. And so I pray today that as you go forth, that you don't be lazy in your walk with Christ, that you don't waste what God has given to you. He that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. And our work as believers, our work as those who have been called to the cross of Christ, our work to those who have been forgiven of all of our many trespasses and sins, is to glorify the name of the Lord. And when we waste the words that God uses or can use for his glory and for the good of those around us, then we are slothful. We're slothful. We're being lazy. We're not thinking. And we're acting out of fleshly emotion. And God says, stop. Don't be slothful. Be wise. Don't be foolish. Have understanding. Know the right thing to do in the right way. And so I pray today that as you go forth, you go mightily in the name of your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and you are truly encouraged.